68, 74. We'll wait for a few seconds to get all our participants, all the attendees online. 283, 87, 300, and we start. 299. Okay. Good morning, good evening, and good day to one and all. Today we do the fifth episode of season 7. And my name is Ashfaq Ahmed. I'm the anchor of my chapter exchange program. I'm also the vice president of PMI Mumbai chapter. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the contribution from our volunteer team. This is Anita, who is associated with the chapter exchange program, and she's been very instrumental in doing all the background activities. She is from Poland, and I've shared her LinkedIn ID. She will share the LinkedIn ID on the chat group in case you want to connect with her. She's also a mentor program. This is Anita Kanutia from PMI Mumbai chapter. Coincidentally, both Anita work with EY in different countries. She is also a part of a volunteering team. Next is Amod Asalkar. He is the man behind our infrastructure. He is the one who ensures that our events are registered, the attendees are onboarded, the speakers are onboarded, the event is organized well and executed correctly. So thank you, Amod, for everything. We have Damiki Mendes. He is from Colombo chapter. He is the one who is responsible to do the first social media post. So thank you, Damiki. We have Hiral Vyas Dave. She is a volunteer from the Gujarat chapter. She is responsible for many of the background activities, and she is also responsible for introducing the speakers. Thank you, Hiral, so much. We have Priscilla now. Priscilla is from Sao Paulo chapter. She is a part of the PMI Sao Paulo chapter as a governance counselor. Priscilla is been associated with the chapter exchange program for quite some time. For me, she is the one point contact for all the analytical activities, and she has got a sharp eye for detail. Oh, who doesn't know Tao? Tao is also a long-time associated member with the chapter program, and he is very instrumental in helping us get speakers, moderators, guest speakers, and also publishing these events in his region. Thank you, Tao, for all this. Before we start, one thing that I want to highlight now is that a chapter this event is with a target of 1,598 members. Okay, this is myself. I don't know what I do, but associated with the chapter only because of volunteers that I'm able to present this today. Thank you so much for being a part of this initiative. Okay. There are few that we have modified or updated, and as we strive to do better on various arenas, here's a little change that we would like let our attendees in the chapter benefit from. So we will be presenting the upcoming activities or events uh, in the chapter exchange program. We will only take a few minutes so that you all are aware of what is happening. The Global Summit 2024 is happening on 18th and 21st September in Los Angeles. I'm sure many of you are visiting this place.
Hello,
If you are, then
Ahmad.
give me a
Hello,
thumbs up.
hello.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but your voice is getting really low. So could you please come closer to the mic for the clarity?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it is better now.
Better?
Yes, but could you come closer to the mic?
No, it's just near my mouth only. Yeah. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, but sometimes
Okay.
your voice really goes down, and it is really hard to
Or
hear.
maybe at that time I'm not speaking Amod.
No, no. People are also
Okay.
giving their
I'll
feedback.
see. I'll see
So yes,
how we can do this better. Okay.
yes.
If you don't
Thank you.
hear me, then let me know.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. So okay, we got a thumbs up from many members who are attending this event. Thank you so much. The next slide is from Netherlands. The Netherlands chapter has shared their event Benelux Summit 2024, which is happening on 27th September. And as a part of the chapter exchange program, they have given a 10% discount to all those who are attending from Netherlands. So the discount code is on my screen, PMI NL10. PMI NL10. I would request our volunteers to just post it in our chat group also, so that everybody is aware. Netherlands chapter event on 27th September, discount code PMI NL10. The next event that we have now is the PMI Mumbai chapter event. This event is coming up on 19th of October. I would request all attendees from India to make an effort to come and join us, and we'll publish more details about this event in our. Are you present? Yes. During our uh, other forum, we'll circulate more details about this. Priscilla, you want to take over?
Sure. Thank you. Can you hear me? Well,
Thank you, Priscilla. Yes, I can hear you.
okay. Thank you. So, welcome to PMI Chapter Exchange, Season 5, Event 7. It is said that project managers spend about 90% of their time on communication. So, today's topic is super important for the profession, mastering the art of communication in project management. We will close today's session with a registration link for the next session on October. Please wait to get an early access to the link. And today we have our PMI friends coming from 35 different PMI chapters from around the world: North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and many other supporting chapters. And this is our exchange effect map. Our registrations for today's session are coming from 55 countries. Next one, please.
Just a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we
So
invite you now to keep saying hello to each other and networking as we begin. You can update your profile in our Meet with your LinkedIn details and connect with fellow attendees. Today, we are pleased to announce that we have more than 1,500 registrations, as Ahmed said, from Alaska to New Zealand and all countries and continents in between. Thank you for this warm response to this initiative again. Please let us know where you're coming from using the Menti link shared in the chat. It is important to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. So if you feel uncomfortable in any way, you can choose not to attend. If not, you are are welcome to continue. We also highlight that everyone here at this event is speaking on our individual capacity. Therefore, our opinions do not represent the opinions of our organizations. Next one, please. We invite you to join us in our attendee spotlight session, so you can also be spotlighted. How you can do it? Participate actively in the event using the chat window, share an interesting quote or comment on this event's topic. Then, in the end of the event, we will spotlight you. Your collaboration is very important to enrich this event.
Okay.
Next, please. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker of the day, Lieutenant Colonel Shri Harsha. Mr. Harsha is an expert in building institutions and enhancing competency of organizations through coaching, mentoring, and hands-on support on the ground. He has also program management expertise in multidisciplinary programs, which includes construction projects, IT infrastructure creation, and management projects. He is also specialized in driving troubled projects to their logical conclusion by negotiating and motivating teams. Mr. Harsha has mastered the art of driving projects with effective contract management right from the drafting stage through its rigorous implementation in spirit and word. He also has hands-on experience of managing multidisciplinary, multi-location, multicultural teams for successful delivery of programs and projects. Some of his specialties are program management, project management, contract management, stakeholder management, and he holds various PMI certifications. Lieutenant Colonel Harsh, thank you for being our speaker today, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Priscilla.
Thank you, Priscilla. Colonel Harsha, you want to share your screen? Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that.
Yes, thank you.
Can you please confirm if my presentation has come up?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so today we'll just be speaking, running through this topic of mastering. Now, the calibration or benchmarks for mastering is a very open-ended one, and there's always scope for continuous improvement. So what I'll do is I'll quickly take you through an overview of what the scene is about communication. The first one is for what
Is there just a minute, Harsha sir? Is
Hello.
there an echo?
Yeah.
Everybody is able to hear, or I am only able to hear two voices?
I don't know because I don't have any other
I'm not.
system on it. So.
I'm not hearing any echo.
I don't
You're
hear
okay,
any
right?
echo
Okay,
either.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Go ahead then.
Okay. So when you say project communication, as a project manager, what is the intent of the whole communication exercise becomes very, very relevant. While there are a lot of theories, which I'm sure all of us would have studied in terms of our PMP preparation or any other framework which you would have studied about, the stakeholder influence effect and all those 2x2 matrices and other models of communication which we have gone through as part of our own professional development initiatives. It's the intent which finally drives as to with whom am I communicating and what am I trying to communicate with this group of stakeholders. Today, the other reality is that whether we like it or not, the reach of the project manager has to be extended beyond his project team. Now, there are two aspects which we would like to draw your attention to. One is, your what you call area of impact, and the other one is the area of influence or the circle of influence. Now, the impact is within your own team who are bound to listen to you because of the organization structure and the power that you wield. But then the area of influence is more critical and important in terms of communication because it extends much beyond your project team. Today, outsourcing has become the norm in any industry. We can take IT, construction, manufacturing, management consultancy. Outsourcing has become a norm. Now, as a project manager, if you do not focus on the extended reach which you need to reach out to, your communication will possibly be incomplete and will not have the desired effect. And the other one, post COVID, I think faceless audience has become a norm, which earlier was an exception. Today it's become a norm. When we see people face to face, we could read their understanding, assimilations, their reactions. Today it is not there. People are just listening. You don't know how they're receiving your communication, how they're going to react, when they're going to react, so that you can make your communication more effective. All in all, the purpose of communication in project management, I use it to increase the probability of success. I will not say that it leads to success, but then it helps me increase the probability of success. So, with this context of communication, especially with project management arena, now what are the challenges that we face apart from all the other theoretical aspects that we have studied? There are a few challenges which I have picked up just for purpose of discussion today. First one is we are faced as project managers, we have to deal with multi-generational teams. That is right from the baby boomers, people who are in their 70s and 80s, to the current generation, which is, just hardly out of college. And in the army, we say they're still green behind the ears. That means they still have got to see a lot of the real world scenario. Now, when you're handling with this wide spectrum of people, the language that you use, the tone that you use, the way you communicate, so it becomes a total package of your verbal communication, your body language, and what
Harsha,
you
Harsha
are
sir,
going to speak.
just
Yeah.
a minute. Are you sharing? You're sharing your screen, but we are still looking at the first screen. Are you talking about the second screen and third one, or you're still on the first one?
Have you seen this?
Yeah, yeah. The mastering the art, we are seeing the first one. Yes. You
Oh,
still
no,
see?
I think I already come to slide 3. I think there is, let me just go back.
Okay. Yeah. If you can put this on a slide sharing mode, that will help you. Yeah, good. So now I am able to see slide second.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay, so this was what I just spoke about, and then now I'm just speaking about the challenges, right? So I just spoke about the multi-generational team. This is something which is now reality because of the experience that people carry, organizations are still engaging people who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. So when we go there, we have to be careful about what we communicate because it can have a long-term impact on the morale of the team and the way they function. The other one is the understanding and comprehension related to the aspect of multi-generational teams, the terms, the codes. Mapping becomes quite difficult, especially with agile and disciplined agile becoming very prominent in the project management arena. Mapping this to the traditional project management is a bit of a challenge. Even when I did my DASSM and then started using the agile terminologies, I had to actually prepare an index of what each disciplined agile terminology means in the conventional project management because in projects when you're actually pushed against time, you hardly have any time to go about in detail and explaining people. So you have to figure out how you're going to do it. The next one is the expertise in the subject and the domain. Now, why I have picked up this specifically is the rate at which technology is changing, the subject and the domain expertise and the knowledge is being shared, kind courtesy, the artificial intelligence and machine learning, the understanding which people need to grasp about the domain becomes important. So now as a project manager, these are some of the challenges we are facing. And of course, the AI and ML. Now, this is something which is again a very contentious subject. We'll be discussing that in detail during the panel discussion. But the point here is AI and ML is as effective as the input that it has been provided, the way it has been nurtured by inputs from different people. Now, there are a lot of people for various reasons, shortage of time, they don't want to put everything is not documented and out there in the space for AI and ML to pick up. Now, prompt engineering is what we call as is becoming a reality and is a very specialized subject. It is supposed to be a specialized subject. The point is that at least I personally, when I start doing this prompting, the rounds of attritions and redefinitions which is needed, I feel I can do a better job in a shorter duration by just going and typing whatever I want to say and finishing it. So AI and ML, while it actually reduces a lot of your donkey work, it also comes with its own set of baggages. And if you are not able to tame this properly, the end could be quite frustrating and disastrous. So with this, what I want to tell is that now for communication, you have to start innovating and improvising your own means
Harsha
of
sir, again your
ensuring.
slide is not moving. We are still
Where am I now?
slide number 2 is what I can see.
I thought you confirmed about slide number 3. I don't know. Wait.
Yeah. This is slide 3.
Okay. Okay, I'm not playing a video.
Are you using presentation mode or just moving through the PowerPoint slides? Because we are seeing
using it.
PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, I'm doing it in the presentation mode. Anyway, now has it come up?
No, we are
Okay,
seeing it in a present PowerPoint slides mode. So I think you
Okay.
need to share
Share
that
the other
presentation window.
I think there is something. I did start with the presentation mode.
So when you're selecting the share window, right, in that you have to pick up the window.
Yeah, now is it in the presentation mode?
No, we are still seeing slide number 3. It's not in the presentation mode.
No,
When you're
I am
selecting
still
that
able.
window from the shared windows, there are 2
Yeah.
different windows. So you have to select the presentation window. It's a little confusing.
Okay.
Or you can just do a share entire slide and then come to your presentation mode. That helps.
Okay. Has it gone into the presentation mode now?
No, sorry.
No,
it is
no, it's still on the same.
Yes, still in the
Oh,
PowerPoint.
okay.
Okay, I think I will
Okay.
continue with the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, what I wanted to highlight here is that, for the present communication, it's not that easy. It's quite difficult. And as a project manager or as a part of the project team, you have to start innovating and improvising your own methodologies of doing the work. Now, again, this journey to mastery. The first one is you should know your team. When I say know your team, you should be able to anticipate what's that they are trying to ask. What is it that I need to communicate with them? Now, this varies according to the understanding and the language and the domain expertise of your people. Is it in the presentation mode now?
No, it is not in the
No, but
presentation mode, but we are good. I think we are on slide number 4, Journey to Mastery. So we can continue.
Okay. So now there is this, small little window which I just popped up just to tell you how this whole talk itself is evolved. That on Tuesday morning at around 9:03, I got a message from Ishwari saying, "Good morning, sir. What is a good time to call?" Now, Ishwari in the morning time means I know that there is something important and I had to take it on priority rather than letting, though I had some other work. I said, let me speak to her, and I spoke to her immediately, and then she gave me a complete breakdown of what was needed and all that stuff. And then I told her I just have 80 hours to prepare. But then she said, no, I think you can do it. And we went ahead with it. And today, here I am speaking to you. So from start to finish for me, the project was just about 80 hours. And in these 80 hours, I've traveled about 800 kilometers and all that stuff. And I just packaged whatever I felt was relevant for an audience, mixed audience, who are seasoned project management professionals, right? So you should know what your team is actually looking at in terms of your communication preparation. This is both verbal, written, and the support, what you call as empathy, mentoring, coaching, all that stuff becomes part of your communication package. The other one is you have to start living your project. When I say live, you have to breathe, eat, sleep, everything has to be a project. It's like, a multi-processor system. While you are focusing and concentrating and doing multiple other activities, the project has to keep running in the background, and it should be so fast that you're able to, especially if you're program managers and portfolio managers, you should be able to change between projects and programs so that your communications are not getting mixed up, and then you don't have to send a sorry, it was not for this team, it was somebody else, and then getting the messages mixed up. Now that can happen only if you actually start living and thinking about your project at every stage. In the last 48 hours, yesterday was being Independence Day here in India. I had to go and speak in a school for school kids and parents. Even while I was speaking there, as I was speaking to the school kids, there are a couple of points which I said I should bring it back here and share it with you people and then do it. So that's how you actually start mastering your communication skills. And the next one is connecting the dots. This is very, very important because we should know, project life cycle extends from hours to days to weeks and months. What you said at the start, that consistency should be maintained when you're doing your communication. Now, most of the time, we miss what we had told earlier, and then people catch us and say, this is what you told earlier, and why are you changing the stance now? These things keep popping up every now and then. So as project professionals, our memory RAMs should keep upgrading constantly. This is something now you should know what to dump, what should be. It's like cleaning the junk in your phone or in your laptop. We should know what is the required inputs that I need to keep, especially when you're going in for meetings and presentations with different set of stakeholders. You should be aware of these aspects. And of course, politicking, or when I say politicking, it is the politics of organizations and project teams is a reality again. We should know how to handle that. Every word you speak, every sentence that you structure and tell can be misinterpreted and misrepresented. You should learn to take that as part of your profession. Take it in your stride. Don't get upset and let that trouble you for a long duration, right? So if you have to master the journey of communication, it's a continuous one. You need to prepare your communication plans. Now, the communication plan itself becomes a big project by itself. It could be a meeting, it could be a stakeholder interaction, it could be a presentation that you make, it could be a note that you have to send out to different set of stakeholders, and then you start practicing it regularly. And that's when you reach a level of perfection. But then when you say you have reached the level of perfection, there'll be something which will bounce back at you, and then you get through this loop continuously. So I'd just like to end with this slide, which summarizes the effectiveness of communication, what is said and unsaid, heard, unheard, seen, and not seen. There are a lot of things which could be routines which are missing. Say, for example, a person who is there is not seen there today. It's something critical in your project life cycle. The person is a very critical link. He's missing today at a particular timeline. Something like that. It should trigger you your thoughts to say that, hey, wait, now I need to get back to action and see what needs to be done. So I do hope that in the last 10, 12 minutes, I just been able to give you a gist about how you master the art of communication and project management, though it was a very quick run through. The subject itself is a very lengthy subject which needs a very deep dive. I've done a very surface skim in the context of the audience that we have today, and keeping in mind the fact that we have a very experienced panel who is going to do the deep dive post this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Harsha. Thank you, Colonel Harsha, sorry. And thank you so much. I'll share my screen and take this forward. 80 hours, 800 kilometers, and an excellent presentation by Colonel Harsha today. So we will dwell more into this as we progress. I'm just sharing my screen to get to the next section of the event. You able to see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up, please. Good, thank you. Now over to the next part of the next segment of the event. Here is our chapter exchange program event or one theme, one song, and one dance. That's what we call just a snapshot of our program. Chapter exchange program is a PMI chapter collaboration initiative. We have 34 partnering chapters and many supporting chapters on this program, representing all regions that PMI is in today. We added last month we added Ivory Coast, and this month we are adding Lahore chapter. So we are also in discussion with other chapter whom we would onboard soon. So if you are a part of this session today and your chapter is not a part of this screen, I would request you to reach out to your chapter outreach or volunteer program and request them to be a part of this. They would get a few benefits on presentation and bringing forward your chapter at a global platform. The PMI Chapter Exchange is a virtual community of chapter leaders, a community that transcends across countries, continents, and culture. And we like to put it that way. Our vision is to evangelize cross chapter collaboration and encourage cultural diversity. So you will hear people from the Far East and the Far West too. It is also about teamwork, co-creating monthly event to bring diverse perspective to our chapter members, spurring networking and collaboration opportunities. And by doing this, we are building a community to share good practice within and external to the program. That is why you will notice chapters from diverse background and participating in this program, because we truly believe diverse culture connections lead to innovative solutions. Thank you all of you for being a part of this. This is a chap. This is Exchange Effect. This is a book that we have published last year before, where we collected all the nuggets from our learnings, and it's available on Amazon. Now we get into the next segment of our event, which is the spotlight chapter of the month. Damike, are you there?
Yes, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So let me introduce the spotlight chapter of the month. So this month's PMI Lahore, Pakistan chapter is the spotlight chapter of the month. Let me introduce Dr. Khalid Ahmad Khan. He is the president of chapter. As a seasoned strategy, program, and project management consultant with extensive experience in both public and private sectors, he serves as the president of the PMI Lahore chapter and a professor of project management at Ripah International University. His profound knowledge and hands-on experience enable him to educate and mentor the next generation of project managers. His career includes significant roles with international organizations like the World Bank, USAID, government planning departments, where he specialized in quantitative risk assessment and project performance analysis. Additionally, he leads the project and education portfolio as the Gurmani Foundation. His professional journey reflects commitment to excellence, continuous learning, and a deep-seated desire to contribute meaningfully to community development and organizational success. Dr. Khalid, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Randall, for that really kind introduction. And thank you, Ishfaq, for introducing this program to us in the last limb. So it's great to be in this program. And so I guess hello, good morning to good evening, all the way from one end of the world to the other. It's truly amazing the number of chapters that you have in this program. Today, I just wanted to do a quick intro of Lahore chapter, but to do that, I also need to give you a little intro of Lahore itself. So Lahore is like the second largest city in Pakistan. It's one of the cities which is one of the oldest lived cities around the globe, with like Nasi, Damascus. Lahore is one of them with a 4,000-year-old history, which 2,000 years of recorded history. Has a population of about 13 million people, and it's a UNESCO city of literature. So comparatively speaking, if you see, we're celebrating 20 years of Lahore chapter. So compared to 2000, that's like just a few moments ago, but it's a big milestone for us. And for as a chapter, we're very happy that we've last year we were the finalist for chapter of the year, and this year also we're finalist for chapter of the year, and we're hoping that we will be lucky and get selected. Moving on, this is the chapter team. If you look at our logos, you could see on the bottom right is that tower that you can see in the background. So that's basically was erected to for celebrating the independence of Pakistan in 47. And this is our chapter team, so it's a get together over there. In Lahore chapter, I think one of the things that we've always focused on is community engagement, which means reaching out beyond our membership to associations, to students, to all kinds of different segments, because there's a huge need to broaden the project management knowledge across different disciplines. So we do networking tours, we do iftars and seminars, and we do a lot of community engagement events. This one that you can see over there is one of those events. Next. If we really look at why somebody would want to belong to a chapter, I've been in a PMI member for 25 years now, and the reason is a sense of belonging that you have for something that's bigger than you. But to create that belonging, you can't create that through just a technical exchange of ideas. You also need to go across and have some personal connections. And we do that on a yearly basis. So if you go back, yeah. So this is a networking tour where we actually invited members, non-members, and also asked them to bring their families along. And the kind of connections that you make with these kind of events are more lasting. People tend to want to then belong to a chapter, where it creates a sense of camaraderie among members. Next. This is the outreach program that we've been doing. We've been very active specifically with universities, and I had a chance to present our approach during the recent link, which basically is so being an academic, we understand that there's a huge need to bring project management early in the game. We wait a long time before we get into project management. So we do a lot of stuff with the universities. So these are different universities that we go to. We'll do events over there. We'll do free training courses, etc., with these students, and just get them engaged so that when they come out into the market, they already have project management skills. Next. Yeah. Okay. And I thought I'd share a couple of pictures of Lahore with you. So on the top left is the entrance to the old city of Lahore. And Lahore used to be, along with Delhi, Lahore used to be the capital of the Mughals. For 13 years, Lahore was the capital. And then you can see next to that is the Lahore Fort in white. And then above that is one of the oldest educational institutes in this area, which is the government college. Then the famous Badshahi Mosque in Lahore, and then below that you can see the Wazir Khan Mosque. So Lahore has a lot of culture. It's this we're the saying in this part of the world: if you haven't been to Lahore, you haven't lived. So that's like if you meet any person from Punjab, that's what they were tell you. It is a city that is worth visiting. It's great to be part of this exchange program, and we're happy to connect. And we're always happy to have someone visiting here to contact us and share our city with them.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Thank you so much for bringing us the values and the importance of the professional practice activities that are done at Lahore chapter. Probably some of our members will reach out to you to learn more about how and what you are doing. So
Yeah,
moving on to
most
the next segment. Moving on to the next segment of our event is a panel discussion. May I call upon is it Anita or Hiral who's going to do the hello?
Yes, I can do that, Ahmed. Can you please take us to the next slide?
Okay, good. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so we are now to the major section of this whole chapter exchange program event. And I am glad that I got this opportunity to talk about the moderator, Michelle. She is a very focused and meticulous moderator. And the way she works, we are all very impressed with it. She is from Queensland chapter. She operates from Australia, kind enough to join us today. Quite late for her, but she is with us. She is a senior project reporting analyst currently, as she is playing that role. A great trainer, over 15 years of teaching experience in TESOL and program management. She also works and helps in leading project assurance activities and conducting project report analysis for project management office in both private and public sector. She's very well experienced as a consultant for ICT projects. She has a background of project management overall. A graduate certificate of global project management is what she has attained from the Torrens University, Australia. She's a Master's of Education in TESOL, Queensland's University of Technology, Australia, a certified CAPM, Prince 2 Foundation. I welcome our valuable moderator, Michelle. Over to you, Michelle, to take forward our today's panel discussion.
Thank you, Hiral. I'm really pleased to be here with everyone. And no matter where you are in the world today, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Of course, good night for me. And we have really exciting topics about mastering communication, project management. And we have all know working in projects, we have different levels of stakeholders. And if I may to welcome our first panelist tonight is Dr. Yulia. If I could pass the floor to Dr. Yulia to introduce yourself to everyone about your background.
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Yulia Chiporko. I'm joining from Anchorage, Alaska. It's still bright and early here right now. I'm working through my first cup of coffee. So just a couple of words about my background, professional background. I have about 15 years of experience leading IT transformations in telecom, healthcare, oil and gas, and other sectors. I'm currently working as a senior IT project manager for GCI, which is the largest Alaska telecom company. Here, I'm mostly focusing on enterprise projects and large implementations. In addition, for the last 6 years, I've been teaching at the University of Alaska, And as you can see from the screen, I'm also a part of the board of directors for the PMI Alaska chapter. I'm serving in the role of VP of Finance right now. And on education side, I have a PhD in economics and MBA from the University of Alaska Anchorage, and a couple of professional certifications that you can also see on the screen here. Really happy to be here and excited about today's topic.
Thank you, Dr. Yulia. I think we share similar experience. I'm really impressed with your teaching experience and working for all the ICT projects. And then the next one is George. George is from our Mexico chapter. George, if I may pass the floor to you to introduce yourself.
Hello, nice to meet you. An honor to be here with a great group of experienced people. My name is Jorge Moreno. I'm Program Project Manager, Consulting Director, and co-founder for Grupo Apron, a project management consulting firm. I am the chapter president in Bajío, Mexico. Everyone is welcome here to Mexico. I have 15 years experience of program project manager leading more than 100 projects for several industries. I have a master's degree in project management. I am systems engineer, and I have several certifications, PMP, ACP for agility, some of Scrum Master, another that I don't want to to bring. So very thank you to be here and hope I can contribute with the topic.
Thank you, George. Thank you. We are really happy to have you here with us today. Over 100 projects. That's really impressive. Thank you so much. And our next panelist is Laura. Laura is from Netherlands. If I may pass the floor to Laura to introduce herself to everyone.
Thank you, Michelle. So my name is Laura Roversi. My current role is IT PMO for the Veolia Water Technology and Solutions business unit. This is a large environmental solutions company based in Paris, France. I'm also the treasurer of the Dutch chapter. My experience is about 12 years of project management experience. And before that, I have a very extensive experience in finance. As you can see from my education, my background is in finance and business administration. And only later in my career, I built a passion for project management. I got my PMP certification, and I stepped out of finance and joined information technology as a PMO. So I'm really honored to be here and looking forward to a good discussion on this topic, of which I'm also quite passionate. It's very important.
Thank you, Laura. It's really good always in PMO. Myself, it's really passionate about PMO as well. And Laura seems to work in multiple global projects. So about communication, we always need to consider about the diverse cultural background. So I think we will have a really extensive discussion about this with Laura. Thank you. So let's welcome our next panelist is Prerak. And Parag, if I can pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening from here in India, Ahmedabad, Gujarat chapter. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, depending on where you all are. I'm very happy to be part of this panel today, discussing a very important topic. You know, we talk, we communicate. Project managers do that all day long. The most important part is how effectively we do that. As Karna Harsha said, not necessarily that assures the success, but that improves the chances of success. And while I'm here as a panelist, along with very esteemed and successful project managers and leaders from across the globe, I'm looking forward to hear their inputs and learn some more. As far as my background is concerned, I have 30 years of IT services experience covering entire globe in many different industries. 15 years I was in US, other 15 I've been here in India. I'm part of the Gujarat chapter board as the president, and I'm joint CEO of a public listed IT services company based out of Ahmedabad, India. And my academic wise, I did my master's in computer science, but then life took me to the journey of the project manager, which I'm very passionate and happy about. And I hold the PMP since 2007. Thank you all. Good to connect with you all.
Thank you, Prerak. That's really impressive with your certifications and over 30 years of experience. I wish I would get this someday and really glad if we can share more of your experience on global projects you have led. Thank you so much. So now we have Singy. Singy is from Taiwan chapter. Originally, I'm from Taiwan as well, so I'm really happy to see Singy in the presentation with us today. So Singy, would you mind to introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Michelle. Can you hear me clearly? Yes? Okay. So I'll probably just use some number to summarize. I think everyone can see the words here. So I'm singing, like Michelle mentioned, in Taiwan, and I'm currently live in my 11th city in life because of education and work, moved from Taiwan to Canada, to USA, to Singapore, and back to Taiwan. And I think in my career, I've had 3 employers, Disney, IBM, and most of the time is Microsoft for over 16 years. Let me think about, 13. 13 is different roles that across HR, where I got my master, finance, marketing operation, and finally the director of support engineering. And all of the role can apply project management. So I think it's a topic that is so close to my heart. I start as a contractor and kind of be able to retire as a director. All kudos to the project management. I have 22 kids. That's also kudos to project management that empower me to have that capability to support kids in the world. 20 kids from World Vision all over the world in need, and 2 kids delivered by myself. And just a fun fact of me in regard to project management. So when I was in university, I started up a business to some sort of like project management to help people plan their study. And one of the students or one of my customer, 10 years later, become my husband who is there. So I think that sometimes I try to encourage people that if you have passion and use that passion to help more people, you might find your true love. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Singy, for sharing such an interesting personal
Someone
story.
is jumping there. Okay, I need to mute myself.
There are always opportunities. Project management brings you opportunities, even finding a husband or wife. I love the story. So, if I may, we just kick off with today's session. And we have already got some questions from the audience. So, the main topics today we will cover, of course, is about communication tips in general. And also, how do we tailor to use communication strategies and tips to work with diverse culture team or people from different background or even different level of stakeholders. And of course, we will use some technology to help us to actually how to improve the effectiveness of communication. If I may start from the first question, is from the audience, share intent. So, share would like to know from our panelists. So, what are the tips to build relationship with people, especially your key stakeholders in the business of running the project? We all know meetings back to back sometimes are hard to actually communicate effectively, but I really want to know how do we actually build the relationships. Any panelists would like to answer this question? Put your hand up. Go ahead. Perak, thank you.
Certainly, a very interesting question because building a relationship, very important before you start communicating, know understanding how that person actually is, right? Not necessarily you are there to cater their likes and dislikes. That is not the point. But knowing where that person is coming from helps you definitely deliver what you need to. What is the best way to build that relationship? Well, just, while you are too busy from running back to back, meeting to meeting, spend some time, take a time out, just 2 minute call to say hello. How are things in the life? If in case your audience or your colleagues are remote, any evening, or if they are available on the same location, just meet up for coffee. Just work is 24 by 7. It happens, we all do that. But sometimes not talking the work and talking outside of the work, just just hand on a shoulder or pat on a back, and understanding the culture, understanding where they're coming from, make that one call. Don't wait for the call, don't just connect, but connect empathetically. I think that will take you a long way. That is going to build a team that you want to be on your back while you are delivering the project. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Parag. That's really good. What I can hear is being proactive. And you also mentioned about grabbing coffee, which is like informal communication. So we do have a second question that led up to this. If any panelists would like to answer this one. So after any formal or informal communication with the project team, is it okay to send a meeting summary as a follow-up? So just to have some record, and what are your takes on that? If any panelists would like to add comment to this question.
Sure, I can take this one. This is Julia. So I think sending the summary, or maybe there were some action items, is always helpful. Especially if it's a formal communication on the project, maybe status update, maybe just a regular check-in with your team. I think it really helps to keep your team on track. To have the quick summary, that is maybe real short. Just send it in the email. Quick summary, include some action items if there were any. Based on your communication, based on your conversation. And next time you check in, you can go back to that summary, kind of refresh it in your mind, and your colleagues can also look back and try to remember what we talked about last time, what do we need to talk about this time. I think it's always very helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely depends on if you just check in with your team member or it's actually a discussion. So you always see how it works within your team. And we do have another question from the audience, and I really like this one is how do we actually ensure the consistency, to have the clear communication in a global project teams? And I know a few of you all work on global projects. So I think this question will be really great for such as Laura, Singi, Parag, or George. Yulia, even your work on global project teams. If anyone could just
Yeah.
add feedback to this, that'll be good.
Yes. So maybe I can comment. I think for global projects and to ensure a consistent communication, it's important to make consideration about the project governance and be consistent in the portfolio of a business, of a company, to follow this governance consistently for all of the projects. When you have lots of projects, for example, you don't want to end up communicating in many different ways to different stakeholders on different projects. These people are involved with many things, and they like to have a streamlined communication that looks and feels the same, though the content, of course, will be different every time. So that's my experience in the global projects area.
Thank you so much. And we do have a few more questions, but if I can come back to checking with the audience questions later on. At this stage, I do have a few more questions for our panelists today. As you know, it's about mastering communication. So if I could pass the floor to Laura again to talk about the key elements of effective communication, in project management to make sure that actually align with the project success as you are in PMO? And I think the goal is to actually make sure the project success. Would you mind to just tell people about some tips and elements?
Yes, just a couple. I think the first thing, and I will repeat the words of Colonel Harsha in one of his first pages. He talked about what is your intent in the communication, and sometimes I express it with another word, which is what is your goal. So when you start to communicate with people, think about what you want to achieve. This is essential. You don't just want to put together a presentation or talk about topics in a meeting for the sake of it without knowing what am I looking for, what is going to help me in my project when I bring this information out to the world. So I can say that you could think about talking about your team. What do you want from your team? You want that they know their tasks, that they execute them, that if there are risks, they're going to bring them up. What do you want from the stakeholders? You want support, you want resources, you want commitment. What do you want from executives? You want them to you want to show them what are the benefits that you're bringing to their functions. And the same thing, you have steering committees. So for every group of people that you communicate, think about how do you want to communicate based on what is your goal, what do you want to achieve. And then based on that, tailor the level of detail that you want to give. Again, in an example, when you talk to your team, you might want to go very detailed, task by task, look where we are. But when you talk to an executive group, you might want to summarize in 3 points what you want to say. Executive people will not stay on the phone for an hour listening to you without knowing what is that you're looking for, right? So those are a few things I think that needs to be taken into account.
Thank you, Laura. And I do have another question that could be for you, Leah, is Laura has mentioned about the project teams, how to keep them informed, and then the project executives. If we could focus more on project leadership, how do we actually make sure the project leadership team is well informed and then they actually understand the project goals, progress, or any potential issue or risks?
Yeah, sure thing. So communication to leadership team is extremely important. My mentor always says, the project manager should not leave the leadership team blindsided. If there is some issue in the project, something is going on, you'd better just get in front of your leadership and let them know. If there's escalation, it needs to happen on a timely basis. And on the other hand, if there's something good going on, there's a big success that happened on the project, same thing, get in front of your leadership team, let them know how great of a job the project team is doing. So in my experience, I find that having the regular check-ins with the project leadership is very helpful. It may be, the weekly status readout or weekly status updates where you just meet with your leadership team, the project leadership team, provide them information on the most recent tasks that have been completed, the risks and issues may be happening, may be going on, next steps on the project. So basically just provide a quick readout. It needs to be a really concise and straight to the point. It also helps to have, agenda in front of you so that your leadership team can see what you're talking about. And it also helps to keep everyone aligned and staying focused on specific items that you want to deliver. So having that quick check-in on a regular basis really helps. And, if you have some implementation vendor working with you too, they can be invited to that check-in too, to provide their perspective on how the project is going and, what's happening overall.
Thank you, Yulia. That's really insightful. Myself, I work on more than 30 project reports. Sometimes I've found that could be a bit over communicating with the project executive. So I think I have a perfect panelist for this question to Prerak. How about the over communication? It usually creates chaos. So what are your tips to have effective communications rather than over communicate with your executives or project teams or stakeholders?
Thank you, Michelle. That's a very important point. While we are talking about effective communication, right, it is very critical for the success of a project. That does not mean that you communicate every little thing to every little one, because as much as effective communication improves the chances of success, it helps you prevent the problems ahead of time, if people are aware. If you end up communicating things without even making effort to solve yourself, or to the wrong people, it may set unnecessary panic, and that can lead to chaos, as you rightly said, right? So it is very critical that before you communicate, you really think. And that I typically follow W5H, our basic success mantra of the project management. That first of all, why part, do I really need to communicate? You don't want to be opaque, because if you're opaque, if you are not transparent, it will create the mistrust, and you don't want that. But at the same time, do you really need to do it now? Have you done checked all possible options? Am I talking to right person? Because many people have a habit of copying everyone, in everything they send out. That is another wrong practice. So think of, why do I need to communicate, what do I need to communicate, and who do I need to communicate. Make sure that you select only relevant people. There is no need to really copy everyone from top to bottom. Yeah, you need to escalate, then just write to that person. You think it through. So don't create that confusion by over communicating. Be careful, guys. Everyone is being taught, all of us are taught, that communication is very important. You must communicate in time. The underlying thing is, no need to communicate unnecessarily and create unnecessary chaos. Don't let your knowledge be the word out on the street for everyone to talk and laugh about, right? So handle it very, very carefully of what you know, and work towards a solution with the right people, right set of people, and that will help. I
Thank
hope
you so
this
much.
helps.
Yes, totally agree. As I have been doing so many reports, I have lost the focus and I have to go back to review all of them. Thank you so much. We do have a few more questions in the chat, and I haven't forgotten about you, but we will cover them in the later session. I do have one more question. It's about a generic communication tips. If I can ask George, this question is, as a project manager or program manager, when you give your team member feedback, how do you give a constructive feedback as part of effective communication? Because not everyone likes feedback.
Yeah, sure. I will start saying that as any art, you need to practice to master the communication. So that's why I will take the advice from one organization I participate for many years, is Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an organization to improve public speaking. And they use a very good technique for positive feedback. This is a sandwich technique. What sandwich technique means? In the beginning, we start with the bread, with positive feedback. This is something that the first thing the person takes in consideration, and it puts the tone of the conversation. You are doing great on this. You are good on this. But we need the meat. Then we go with the delivery, the construction feedback, things on the persons can work, to things that they can improve, and give it in a good way, in a constructive way. But then we finish with the bottom bread, with a positive feedback and encouragement. Okay, you are doing good. You can do this. You count with me, and anything that animate the people, the person to work on these activities.
Thank you so much. I'll start practicing that so I don't offend people at work. Thank you so much, George. There is a question in the audience. I think it's very relevant to what George just said. George mentioned you have done Toastmaster. And when you are communicating with project team members, executives, anxiety could get in the way. So there's a question about what if I feel anxious about communicating with the project team members? What are the tips to reduce the anxiety? Any panelists would like to give some tips?
I can tell my experience. I was one of these persons. I was I am an analytic person that I work perfectly with a computer. So when I start my career programming, I was perfect with talking with the computers because I say so and they do that. But the people don't work on that way. So that's why I try to get some training on how communicating better, but it's only theory, and some exercise. What what works for me is practicing. That's why I joined Toastmaster. I every week I put in front of an audience. I practice a speech, a prepared speech, and I forgot the word, and some not prepared speech. So when I in front of an audience and in front of people that is saying how my language, body language is working, how my grammatical is, my pose, my tone, my voice, my volume, I get encouraged to do more on my job on project management.
Thank you, George. Any panelists would like to add anything to this? In the chat, I can see a lot of audience would like to know how to manage or communicate with difficult stakeholders or team members from diverse cultural background. And this is a partial that we will cover today. So if I may just summarize what's in the chat, I would like to start from Singy, because you have lived in more than 10 countries. So would you like to share some of the tips to communicate with people from diverse cultural backgrounds and even just between the Gen X, which is a really interesting question from the audience. How do you communicate between the Gen X or people from diverse cultural background? Any tips on this to make communication more effectively with them?
I think that's a very big topic, especially I think Gen X and different countries. Those are two different target audience. I'll share one example of Gen X. My previous team, when I was director as an M2, it was a big organization of over 100 engineers, and several engineers are Gen X, like just fresh from university. And I remember one of the engineer had a skip one-on-one with me and sharing about like she want to quit the job. And then because we are manage a lot of different still so-called project, like a technical support project. And then I asked her why, and she say, I just feel very tired. And I say, so from our generation is you have a way, like from human resource perspective, how to motivate them. But I found out that it didn't work from what we learned in the past. And I think at that point of time, when I talked to her for at least 2 or 3 times, I realized that still back to be human first. Like I let go all the framework, also view myself as a human, not like any role in the corporate, really have a heart-to-heart conversation with her, then really understand what's the thing that bothering her, help her try to remove that. But also remove that label of Gen Z. Although like now we will laugh and think, a lot of, I heard many feedback about Gen Z always quit. We have some sort of stereotype already. But then I think from project manager perspective, to let go those stereotype, it will help those who communicate with you as well. So I think same logic go to different culture as well. I think we tend to have a stereotype of, oh, George from Mexico must be very, I don't know, what kind of stereotype? Optimism? Or maybe Yulia from Alaska must not feel cold easily, something like that. But then I think we are all human. Is the whole world is being kind of made by so many people, even the same people like Tao in Taiwan, me in Taiwan, we are totally different people. So I think be human first is always the word that I put in my mind, that remove all, when you feel blocked to communicate with Gen Z, and you can replace Gen Z by anything like Australian, New Zealand, or anything there, try to sit back and think about be human first. And then that probably this magical word will help you remove some of the blocker of the communication.
Thank you, Singing. That actually answered a lot of questions the audience wants to know, which is how to communicate with people from different cultures and the age, which surprisingly I'm the youngest within my team, and I work with a team who is from Egypt, India, China, Taiwan myself, Australia, and any other cultures that I'm not really, oh, South Africa, it's just a diverse group that I work with. And I know there are more questions about the culture questions. So I guess now it's a global society. We do have opportunity to work with everyone from everywhere. There's one question I think I would like to pass a question to Yulia. It's the techniques that you use to overcome the cultural and language barriers, because a lot of audience actually ask about this question: how do you actually overcome and in a global project teams or settings?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question. I worked, I worked in my background. I did work on several truly global projects when we had vendor or stakeholder from other countries, outside of the US. The most recent one I worked on was the Oracle Field Service Cloud implementation, where we had folks from Finland, Mexico, from all over the United States. We had folks from Eastern Europe, India. So just kind of all coming together, folks from my company just working together on the project. And I found that, with some team members, it was very helpful, to show some visual aids, show diagrams or charts. So basically just back up what you're saying with some visual representation. With some other members from other countries, it was helpful to follow specific process or show specific documentation that they can take away, kind of read on their own time. And even if they're like, especially if there's some language barrier, just take it away and work through this on the site and come back. That was very helpful too. But one thing that I wanted to call out, just having that personal touch and learning, being open to learn about other cultures and let folks tell their stories really helps. No matter the language barrier. I remember one time it was December, we were in a very long session just talking about requirements for this Oracle Field Service Cloud implementation, and it was long session, and it was right before Christmas. And we just started talking about, Santa Claus and the gifts and, celebration. And folks from different countries started talking about, how do you name Santa Claus in other countries, And I learned that, for example, in Finland, they call Santa Claus a Joulupuki. I'm probably butchering the word, but it's just the way they call it, and it means something like Christmas goat, to celebration goat, or something like that. And like I'm originally from Russia. So in Russia we have a grandfather frost. So we just kind of were going around, and folks from different countries were sharing, what do they call the Santa Claus, and it kind of just made it so that we all were talking about one thing, we're sharing cultural stories and like things about the Santa Claus, what people do in their countries around the Christmas. So that was really nice moment, and it feels like it all just brought us together. We are all from different backgrounds, from different cultures, but when we all come together, share our story, and we open and we bring the best of us to the table, I think it really makes it so that the projects are successful and we reach the common goal together.
Thank you, Yulia. I think storytelling is a very important in project management. It's all about the stories you tell to convince your stakeholders. Since we are still talking about the difficult stakeholders and cultural background, there is one question has been asked in the audience: the varying level of stakeholder who can influence the project. So that will be those like project sponsors. And what are the communication tips you have to communicate with people that have really strong influence on your projects? It's more like success or you fail, depending on this communication. Georgia, would you like to share experience, or anyone would like to put their hand up?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the first thing is, if you know that you have several levels or influence and or an interest, you are a step ahead, because you are having a different strategy to talk with the different stakeholders. So this is a first step. The PIN book gives the matrix interest and influence, when you can put all your stakeholders, and that way you tailor your communication strategy. So that's why you need first to do this stakeholder analysis before your communication plan. And when you are doing your communication plan, you tailor this according, okay, this person have a lot of interest and a lot of influence. I need to have a better or strict communication, maybe daily or whatever. Depends on the profile of the people. That there are people that likes everyday communication and calls, but there are people that don't like it. Direct communication, only one report, send me and I can check by email. So you need to tailor according to the person you are referring.
Thank you so much. And we have been talking a lot about the communication tips, lots of them from your personal experience, but also audience would like to know, since AI now is a really hot topic. Personally, I love AI. I use it every day, and lots of audience are asking about how do we actually tailor communication approach by using AI or use it more effectively. So there's one question, if I may, is this one is LLM usage is increasing. What are the challenges in using LLM, and how do we deal with AI agents handling a lot of regular project communication? And I do really like this question. Anyone in the panel would like to add a comment to this question? Parag, did you put your hand up? Parag, thank
Yes, yes.
you.
So, AI is the new thing. We all know. And AI is there to stay. AI can be your co pilot if used correctly, or AI can be a challenge that you are really, right now breeding that could be a problem down the line. So while you are using AI tools, AI based tools to, cater the communication, automate that, right? The most important thing that AI may not have 100% accuracy on, because that is based on the different data set that has been fed into, or experiences that users, human have provided. is the context, right? So one suggestion is, while you are depending or leveraging AI for your communication at this point in time, let us not go blindfolded that whatever comes AI way is the right way, for two reasons. Number one, it may be missing a context. Number two, you may have to set it right, as Jorge said, and other panelists have said. You need to cater your communication as per the recipient that you are targeting. So while AI will do certain job based on the stakeholder analysis that you may have fed into your tool, make sure that it remains relevant, that because it's not one size fit all kind of thing. You make sure that you use your AI as a co-pilot, leverage that, but make sure that it is aligned to the stakeholder and your project's current situation with the right context. So that is my suggestion. Any other panelists, feel free to add, or I hope that helps.
Thank you, Prerak. Anyone would like to add to Prerak's comment? If no, I do have very interesting question, which I personally have been studying about it. It's the ethic in using AI. So since we use AI tools a lot to communicate, what are the risks and considerations around using AI to communicate with your team members? And if you do notice any ethical problem by using AI for communication, have you ever experienced this, and how do you mitigate the risk? And I think this one could be for Singy, since Singy has been working on AI or using AI to do project management a lot. So Singy, would you like to answer this question?
So when you mention about ethical issue, to be honest, so far no. Reason is because I'm just speaking from ChatGPT perspective, as we tested that from probably 2 or 3 years ago. There have been an evolving governance in the back end to prevent from giving advice on such as financial planning, medical situation, or even if someone asks about life or death type of question, it will not give you that answer. So when it comes to practical, and by the way, I'm not working with Microsoft anymore since July, just last month. So what I'm saying is not intend to do any promotion, but just for my own experience. So from project management perspective, though, on the other hand, I think just like Parag mentioned, just don't take that as single source of truth, because imagine the kind of IQ level is probably just still less than 10 years old kids. So they will use a serious and look like professional tone that fool you thinking about that's a right answer, but it's actually not. So it will require a lot of communication. The time that you will have to invest is to communicate with the AI and give that prompt as a project manager, say, give the AI a role, say, now you are a project manager to manage XYZ project, please help, blah, blah, blah. So it will require time in the beginning to come up with that quick summary. So to answer your questions, I think throughout those tasks that we did in the past, if I give a kind of rough percentage, it will save probably 70% above of the time. Just give you a quick example. So my husband is a professor, so in the university. Few months ago, he used Copilot in PowerPoint to generate his PowerPoint by just inputting an outline. So imagine as a project manager, you need to communicate your project update, use PowerPoint, the same scenario. In the past, he probably need to spend 5 hours to 8 hours to compile the whole PowerPoint. That practice that he did took probably just like 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to complete. So just to share that, but still need some modification at the end after that.
Thank you so much for the informed information. And I do want to apologize to Colonel Hersha. Sorry, I didn't see you raise your hand. We are about to wrap up the event, but I would like you to give us takeaway for tonight's session, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. In fact, the AI and ML has become reality and people rely on that too much. But as far as project communication goes, even at very basic levels within the project teams, there are a whole lot of permutation combinations which needs to be factored into your prompts for the AI for it to generate something which you're actually intending to communicate to your team. And especially if you are handling multiple stakeholders like, in the higher echelons of management, their behavior in different set of stakeholders keeps changing. In one of my experiences, when we are doing some major infrastructure projects in Africa, the government officials who were the recipients of funding from the World Bank or from the African Development Bank or the Asian Development, but various funding agencies, their behavior in the presence of officials from different set of these stakeholders was totally different. Now the question or challenge is how do you actually feed all this into the AI tool to give you something which you want to express. And modeling this AI is itself is a big challenge. So all these factors about the stakeholder requirements, how their behaviors are, what is the group of stakeholders. So Harsha in the presence of World Bank, Harsha in the presence of Export Import Bank of India is going to be totally different, like how it was pointed out. So while AI is there as a tool, but for project communication, I would always throw in a word of caution, especially when you're trying to handle the external stakeholders, because what you put in, again, like how it was pointed out by Singh, is it goes, the moment you use an AI tool, whatever you draft goes into the modeling. Then inadvertently, if something is lost, you could have some ethical issues and conflict of interest, and all these issues could come in. So I would, while I also use AI just to explore and experiment, but then the effort and time that you need to invest vis-a-vis, if you can focus on improving your communication skills, that is both writing and reading and speaking, I think the effort that you're going to invest there, you might as well as prepare what you want, those 5 lines or 10 lines which you want, and then be done with it. So I will leave it to the audience to decide which route they want to opt. But yes, with a word of caution, that's reality, and we need everything has got its own set of challenges. So I will leave it there for the audience to make their choice.
Thank you, Colonel Hersha. Thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight or this morning. And if I may ask everyone to connect with panelists or myself on LinkedIn, that'll be good. And then I'll pass the outro to Hirel. Hirel, may I pass the floor to you? Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. That was wonderful. In a short time, many things were covered. So finally, we are now towards the end of this exciting session, season 5, event 7, chapter exchange program. What a response, what an impactful session, I would say. I'm here to give you some key takeaways, and it's a wrap-up time. I will start with registration. Till date, we haven't seen this much of registration, ever high registration, 1600 plus, 50 plus countries, covering all the major continents, and surprisingly 700 plus attendees. So this is indeed a great thing for all of us. And starting, what do I say about today's session? Starting with our guest speaker. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Harsha, for that high note, starting the session on a high note. I personally liked said, unsaid, heard, unheard, seen, unseen. And that's really, to consider. Very interesting. Politicking was a new word to me. And I really enjoyed your early 10-minute session. Prepare, practice, perfect, connect the dots, everything, eat, breathe, sleep, leave your projects. Great insights from Lieutenant Colonel Harsha. And moving on, before I say something about our today's panel discussion and the key takeaways, I would like to congratulate PMI Lahore chapter for celebrating 20 years and being back to back, in 2 consecutive years, being the finalist for the PMI Chapter of the Year award. So all the best to you and many congratulations. Moving on to the panel discussion. Oh, what a fantastic panel discussion. People like 5-6 different panelists from 5 different countries and a moderator from a different country. So from a different time zone, unbelievable. That itself says communication in diversity. So when we started very well with the effective communication. Then we moved on to communication in hybrid world culture. We talked about communication in diversity. We talked about various tools and technologies. We talked about how in the digital world we can communicate kind of a touchy human things, emotional intelligence. And the real-time examples were simply great. So while we all know 7 C's of communication, we all know it has to be clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. This is what we are all known about. Today, we learned 7 aspects of mastering the art of communication in project management, and great insightful sessions by all the panelists. Thank you so much. The great takeaways, what you can see on the screen also, what I liked the most was be human first. That was really touchy by Singhi. Especially mention about W5H by Prerak and building relationship, giving that extra touch to your team members, appreciating them was really a great learning lesson. Lulia gave a great idea about that, why the follow-ups are important, why the summary communication is important, and why the status, bringing status to the leadership is important. So great insight by Lulia on that. Laura, I really enjoyed the way when you said that consistency in the project governance in global projects is important. So that really matters when we are in the diverse world and working with so many people globally. And the sandwich technique by George was excellent, how to deal with the difficult stakeholders. Great insight on that. And what can I more say? Everything which was told by the panelist, like know your goal, know your intent well, and judicious and the ethical use of AI in communication. How do you make the personal touch or build the relationship? All these are the great takeaways. But for me, the 4 topmost, I will say, be human first, build relationship, storytelling works, summary matters, and the consistency in the project governance in the global projects. These are the great things which we have learned today. So thank you all the attendees and the panelists and all the volunteers. But I will hand over to Ahmed for the closure note. Here I am just to say the key takeaway. So I learned a lot, and I am sure all the 700 people here have learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you can allow me to share my screen, please.
Yeah.
We will wrap up in another less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Are you able to see my screen?
Oh, no, Ahmed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. We are on to the next segment of our session today, and we are in the final phase of wrapping up. So today we had this spotlight view, and the code that we have identified is good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity, and this has been shared with us by Marsha William. Marsha William is from Alberta, Canada chapter, and I would just share her LinkedIn profile here for you to reach out to her in case you would be interested. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you so much for helping us with the code. We got plenty numbers of codes, but this is something that we like the most. Going on to the next session is this is the exchange effect that we see today. We had a record number of registration in this event and also a record number of attendees. So that's a good, really a very good participation by all our members. I thank the licensed members from all the supporting chapters. I thank the attendees who made it here and attend every month on month. I have run a quick poll where I've requested members because next month, which is September 24th, we don't have a planned event for CXP because of the global summit going on at the same time. But if members are interested and would be willing to attend, because many of us might not be traveling, if members are interested and willing to attend, probably we can plan a session. So I would request you to vote on the poll so that we get your details and then we can plan. I have no zero plans as of now, but we can plan a session for you if required. Next is the PDU code. The upcoming PDU code. Before that, I would request you to take a note of the QR code and give me your feedback in another 30 seconds. At least take the link. I'll paste the link in the chat below so that you can give your feedback. And the next slide will be the PDU code, which most of us are waiting for. Without taking a lot of time, okay, this is the PDU code. Can somebody paste the PDU code in the chat, please? Okay, this next slide is the event, that is the 18th October event, which is planned for 18th of October, and the topic is project management and impact to society. We spent last close to 2 hours in understanding communication. Now we want to understand the impact to society, and we have panelists requests from Malaysia, Mumbai, Phoenix, South Africa, and Spain. And this is the QR code. In case you want to register, you can go ahead now. And but in between, in September, if you think that that could be a possible event, do let us know and we will be more than happy to take it forward. I think with that, I close this event, and a big thank you to all of you for making this entire thing possible. Thank you to our keynote speaker. I know we gave him a very short notice, 80 hours, and he had to wrap up a lot of things, and also the Independence Day in between. And so that is the commitment with volunteering that we do. And many of our volunteers, people who have volunteered as moderators and also with the panelists. So giving back to society is one key that brings all of us together. Michelle, who has been the moderator, is already in her Saturday because she's logged in from Australia. So she's already in midnight in Saturday. So thank you, Michelle, from all of us in the CXP program for your commitment and dedication in helping us. And you did an excellent job on the moderating activity today. My special thanks to all the panelists from across the globe, be it Tini, Prerak, George, Yulia, or Laura, for spending this awesome time with us and helping us understand about the communication methodologies, communication ways of communication that is important for on a day-to-day life. Also, thanks to Hiral for putting this entire thing together and making it easy for us to understand. That's really a awesome thing that you did. That's one slide will really help all of us consolidate. Thank you so much. And I think that is all for tonight, and a good day to all of you from all of us in Mumbai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashfaq and entire CXP volunteering team.
Thank
Amazing session.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Tim.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice being part
Thanks,
of this
everyone.
group.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So to the panelists and the speakers, I'll be sharing a certificate on email. Probably you will be able to post it on LinkedIn and take it forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Have a good rest of the day, evening, and have a nice weekend.
You all too. Bye-bye. Thank you. It was amazing session. I think a lot of things were there that we could have talked. The question list that Michelle had to put together and all the questions that audience had. I don't know if you want, your nuggets are done. Nuggets will cover a lot of these things. 2 nuggets are good.
Yeah, it will help if you can. Yeah, I'll collate all the nuggets and put it together.
I have completed,
And,
but Michelle, if you're still around, I think she has left. Yeah. I put the question on the group. Don't worry. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Prerak. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Khalid.